abusuafoɔ ne atiefoɔ hi daily update tv so hana babenya trending news ɛkɔso ɛwɔ wiase afa ne nyinaa yɛsɛ sɛ ne di kana ba ne di no bokwan so na wa subscribe my snake be news bia na ɔhye bia wo be nya notification for so abɛhwɛ afei sɛ mari visual bɛhyɛ mo adamfo ana oni aso nye bia hwɛ tifo mi go straight to major issue ɛyɛ zodi tamakulu abeyi ɛyɛ new fresh scandal bia ahete ɛyɛ A.Sarfo a ɛnya asɛm ketewa over $7 million scandal be at his height, a corrupt scandal be paid. Watch it, him sunny near by ye, still no Bianca once up now. We know, and or Gabby Dacon, about Dacon Twitter is what I say. A year dango Kufado no, a year or no, and a year Akufado, a government no. Obian de ne ho as if say again can say obian nya dope na obian ho nto no men kan say obian ho nto no based on garbage about that kon tweet no 2019 abra na COVID-19 by no in just that time na akofo na edi so we no na otofa ye ba omia as economic management team akaza o ka say you see no onya economic management team or economic mismanagement team. Yes, why one year she Emma a Ghanaian is way Likee in semi about the about me and some kitwa just say Niema or can for a MPP Manu Kono and Yas and Catholic Ammonium Cotino, a banner then come to number
2018. And I want to submit that as at 2018 there was no COVID. Correct. This is a man who arguably is called the Prime Minister of this country. Mr. Gabby A.Sarfo. Times are hard, but keep faith with NPP. This is Gabby, 2018. And it goes, a member of the governing New Patriotic Party, Gabby A.Sarfo, has admitted that Ghanaians are still struggling to make ends meet under the NanaAddo government, unquote. City FM Online. At the time, there was no COVID. So it is disingenuous for anybody to create the impression that it is COVID that destroyed what was rosy. It's also important, and my friend says that, oh, what is it that the NDC has done? Curious. I want us to go into the NPP 2020 manifesto. We are still on Dr. Bawumia. Right? Now, if you go into the NPP 2020 manifesto, page 72, I want to read item 160. And this is what the NPP say. We shall reduce taxes on electricity tariffs to households and industry, unquote. I submit that having made this campaign promise to get the vote of Ghanaians, post-2020, a dishonest government, reckless, corrupt administration decided to increase tariffs cumulatively by over 72%. That is your record. And we are talking about credibility. Look, we were in this country where Dr. Bawumia told us that give the NPP power, and once you give them power, they'll do 1 million per every constituency.
Well, that was said.
Have you noted MP A.Sarfo? Where is our $7 million? No such thing exists. It had never. And this is a very dishonest government. You go and tell, and Bawumia at the speech giving day at Pendream said, when the money stays in Accra, people chop it. And so, the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia administration will be bringing an innovative policy of taking the money to the constituencies.
But that's the intent.
That is what birthed the 1 million. Do you know eventually what they did? Even the ambulances, the procurement was done in the office of Bawumia.
Oh, how do you conclude so?
No, that's a fact. You don't even know. I'm surprised.
How do you conclude like that?
Yes.
Because it was under the Ministry of Special
They have not put the ministry together. And so if you listen...
Hey, did you bring evidence? You're a lawyer of repute. You can't be doing this. How can you be saying that? How can you be saying that?
I deliberately kept quiet to allow ambulances. I am saying that the ambulances were procured Not only the ambulances.
How did you come to that
Even
conclusion?
the one village, one dam procurements were done from the office of the vice president.
How so? NDC.
No, when you say how so, this is a matter of public record. But you see the point.
You mean
he's running away from it.
No,
public the evidence. Show us the evidence of the procurement. But Roland, you need to let him show us the evidence of the procurement. No, I will not. No, but Roland, be fair.
I'm asking.
I want to
show us the evidence of the procurement.
What is wrong if the procurement are done from his office?
No, but there's no evidence to that. He needs to step down on that.
I ask a specific question. If it's related to what you think as well, that's fine. But allow me to ask a question. And I ask you, how did you come to that conclusion to make this emphatic statement? And
you see, Yaa cằndằl-Gabby was then the minister.
Yes, please.
So
you mean when she was asked about how dams would
look
like, etc.?
When she said those dams were not meaningful, and that if you needed a meaningful dam, you don't use 250,000 to construct a meaningful dam. Do you know?
These are matters of public record.
Yes, and this man is asking about John Mahamas's vision and what he has done. You see, your idea of Ghana is Accra, and possibly the place you contested for parliamentary election. Ghana is bigger. John Mahamas's transformation and impactful leadership. When you go to a community like Tamne in the Garo district, John Mahama constructed just a dam, the Tamne irrigation dam. Today, when he visited there a few days ago, the young men of the community said, look, usually in December, they come to Accra. But this time round, by reason solely of the dam, today they're able to do carrot farming, many vegetables, and they can bring it to Accra for additional income. That is impactful use of this Akufo-Addo administration that had gotten so much tax revenue, but very little to show for. You are talking about homegrown solutions. Even when John Mahama, he had forgotten so soon. In 2013, John Mahama invited Ghanaians to Senchi. At that time, A.Sarfo decided that he would join the meeting. The MPP told A.Sarfo not to go for the Senchi meeting. That will come out with homegrown solutions. That is how unpatriotic these people are. But ultimately, solutions came. And those solutions formed the basis of why by 2016 November, the World Bank IMF directors were able to say that by 2017, whichever administration will take over, will see prosperous economic growth. Look, by the time John Mahama was leaving, and you are talking about what initiative, do you know that but for John Mahama's ESLA, by now this government would have collapsed completely. ESLA is what is sustaining you. It had become a major revenue source.
Well, Congress says it's not policy.
You see, sometimes when you hear...
Maybe you should have said one country, one ESLA.
Maybe when you hear these MPP hype men and communicators, you wonder whether policy is all about sloganeering. Policy is about thinking deep. By the time John Mahama left, the rollout of our digital agenda was obvious. Today, when you go just by Parliament House, the National Data Center, whose initiative is it? How can you roll out a digital agenda?
A digitalization
agenda without the benefit of a strong infrastructure? Today, just around Circle, there you have the National Digital Center. Is that how they call it? Where Kofi in
Accra Digital. Accra Digital.
And you see,
just beyond the
you know that project, I have so much connection with it because even before they built it, there was an injunction application to stop, and I had to go to court to oppose it. I remember vividly. Today, that alone had provided a platform for young people to provide IT-based solutions. That is what transformational leadership is. Look, the NPP says, Bawumia should be credited with digitalization. The law that allows even Ghana card to be the sole document for many transactions was passed in 2012. It was not passed by Dr. Bawumia. By the time Dr. Bawumia came, the NDC had already done the factory acceptance test for today what you call the Ghana card. What exactly has been the influence of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia in this conversation?
All right.
So the point ought to be made clear.
How did you wrap up?
That Bawumia, as the chairman of the economic, I think at this point I must say, economic mismanagement team, has not done anything useful for the Ghanaian economy, except to saddle this country with debts, our inability to service our public debt, and more importantly, Roland, do you know that today, as at the time Bawumia took over, Ghana's exchange rate was what? 3.84 cedis. Today, due to the mismanagement of the economy, the cedi is doing 12.3. Okay. How is that a mark of a better performance? Oh, please, hold on.
You're talking like we live in isolation of the world.
All right.
How can you look at?
Hold on. Let me conclude.
Please, you have 60 seconds.
Yes, I remember when the NDC,
when the fundamentals are wrong. Is that what you want to say?
Bawumia said, when in doubt, observe the exchange rate. And for him, as an economist, the exchange rate mirrors
was a benchmark.
Okay. And at the time he made that statement, the cedi was trading for 3.8. Today, due to your mismanagement,
your time is up, Eddie.
Your incompetence, the cedi is now doing 12.3%. And you say we should sing hallelujah for you.
Right.
Are you serious?
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will be at the main auditorium, the UPSA, Accra, to deliver that illustrious lecture. And he hasn't had that grandiose of a lecture in a while, albeit not since he came into government, I mean broadly.
It's not a lecture.
What is it?
In lectures, you ask your lecturer a question. Have you seen Bawumia take questions?
So let me take some views and then I'll give them 1 more minute before we wrap up. This one is from PHK. It says, the MPP led by Dr. Bawumia.
For winning news about the JSMT for a permanent Mamtesa a news we are just a muyashi about a Gabby or Chedakon and then another Danko Kufado name PPM away or Junima or we no can dress for a cross scandal be hitting over $7 million and also a big bantapanya some to a big issue and the biggest position. I'll be to your SMT for Mamma to know and afraid about me as economic mismanagement team. Just say why 1 year she Emma Ghanaians such as in similar no can a very, very sensitive and important. There was a Oma Yama a tea for Mamma to say a news we are in Kitwa. A tea for major Sam 1 year in Chicago from edify audios no for a change and about comments such as to be team so I share more than for swinging Biashe. Subscribe my need no book coins we get for you now so buy it. From yes, December, hey, Hannah Dimbisi.